What if the most unexpected thing happened at an airport? Imagine Barron Trump, son of the former U.S. president, being kicked out of an airport by staff. What would that feel like? But what happens next will leave you speechless. Stay tuned. Airports are usually places filled with excitement, anticipation, and the joy of travel, but sometimes they turn into scenes of shocking drama. Now, picture this, a high-profile figure like Barron Trump, the young son of Melania and Donald Trump, finding himself at the center of an unexpected incident. What if he, despite his fame, is treated like an ordinary passenger, perhaps even rudely removed from an airport by staff? The thought alone is almost impossible to imagine. How would it feel for Barron? How could something so out of the blue happen to someone so well known? This incident isn't just about a misunderstanding, it's about what happens next that makes this story truly jaw-dropping. As you continue watching, you'll discover the surprising twist that follows this shocking event, one that's sure to leave you speechless. But that's not all. This story holds lessons of kindness, compassion, and human error. Keep watching to see how the situation unfolds, and make sure you don't miss a second of this unexpected journey. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories like this. And don't forget to comment below where you're watching from. Let us know your country. Airports are meant to be places of excitement and travel, but sometimes they become places of unexpected drama. And one such incident happened when Barron Trump, the young son of Melania and Donald Trump, was kicked out of an airport. But this is where the story takes a surprising turn. Airports are typically symbols of adventure and freedom. They are bustling hubs where people come together for reunions, vacations, business trips, and long-awaited holidays. The air is filled with excitement and anticipation as travelers from all over the world pass through security, waiting for their next journey. However, not every airport experience is about smooth boarding and happy farewells. Sometimes, an unexpected twist can turn the usual routine into something utterly dramatic. This story begins in an airport, a place where many come and go without a second thought. Yet, for Barron Trump, the son of Melania and Donald Trump, what should have been a typical day of travel turned into something much more unusual. Barron, despite his young age, had already been in the spotlight countless times due to his famous parents. However, being thrust into the public eye as the son of the former U.S. president comes with its own set of challenges, especially when it comes to handling the everyday situations that we all face, like going through airport security. The incident in question started like many others. Barron Trump, traveling on his own or perhaps with a minimal security detail, was moving through the airport when an unexpected turn of events unfolded. The airport staff, assuming Barron was just another traveler, made a shocking decision. They approached him, not recognizing him immediately, and asked him to leave. Why? It could have been due to a misunderstanding, a mix-up in the security procedure, or perhaps an unfortunate case of misidentification. Whatever the cause, Barron found himself in an uncomfortable and unexpected situation, being removed from the airport by staff. Now, imagine the confusion, the embarrassment, and the surprise for a young boy like Barron, who, despite his fame, had every right to be treated like any other passenger. What went wrong? And what happens next will change the entire narrative. But hold on, this isn't just a story about an unfortunate incident at an airport. What follows is a twist that you wouldn't expect, one that involves none other than Barron's mother, Melania Trump. Her arrival at the scene would turn this awkward situation on its head, and what happens afterward will leave everyone questioning how such an event could unfold. Stay tuned as the situation takes an unexpected turn. It was an ordinary day at the airport, with passengers hustling to catch their flights, families saying goodbye, and travelers making their way through the crowded terminals. Among the sea of faces, there was one person who stood out, not because of his appearance, but because of the weight his name carried. Barron Trump, the young son of former U.S. President Donald Trump and former First Lady Melania Trump, stepped into the airport with a quiet demeanor. Despite being recognized occasionally, Barron preferred to keep a low profile, and on this day, it seemed he was doing just that. The 17-year-old wasn't traveling with a large entourage or the heavy security detail typically associated with high-profile figures. Instead, Barron was seen walking alone or with just a couple of close staff members. To the average observer, he looked like any other young person heading out for a break or a short trip, just a normal teenager, navigating through the routine chaos of an airport. There was nothing particularly unusual about Barron's arrival. His attire was casual, and his movements were calm, almost as if he were lost in his thoughts, unaware of the potential drama unfolding around him. In fact, he seemed more like a teenager trying to get through his day rather than a global figure navigating a sea of security measures and expectations. It's easy to forget that despite the fame and the constant spotlight, Barron Trump was still just a teenager, dealing with the same kinds of situations that any young person his age would face. He wasn't on a grand political mission, nor was he involved in anything controversial. He was simply traveling, likely looking forward to spending some time away from the public eye. The fact that he was trying to have a normal, private experience at the airport was clear. He wasn't seeking attention or trying to stand out. He was, like any other young person, just hoping for a quiet moment, a break from the scrutiny that followed him daily. As Barron quietly made his way through security, there was an unfortunate misunderstanding. The airport staff, accustomed to dealing with a high volume of passengers, didn't immediately recognize him. Perhaps they were preoccupied with other duties, or perhaps Barron's casual appearance threw them off. In an effort to enforce the usual rules and procedures, they mistakenly decided that Barron was an unaccompanied minor or someone causing a disruption. Without checking further or identifying him, the staff approached him, calmly but firmly asking him to leave the area. The moment must have been confusing and unsettling for Barron. Here he was, just a teenager who wanted nothing more than to move through the airport as anyone else would, but instead, he found himself the subject of a public misunderstanding. Did he feel embarrassed? Frustrated? Or was he simply confused by the sudden confrontation? Whatever emotions he may have been feeling, it was clear that the situation wasn't one he had expected. Imagine Barron walking through the bustling airport terminal, his expression calm but perhaps slightly detached. His eyes scanning the crowds, looking down at the floor occasionally as he navigated through security. The weight of the situation didn't seem to hit him immediately. He appeared focused on the task at hand, getting through the airport as smoothly as possible. But the uncomfortable shift in his journey came when the airport staff intervened. There was a moment of hesitation on Barron's face, a fleeting confusion, perhaps an attempt to understand why this was happening to him. The visual could show Barron standing there, quietly processing the situation. The bustling crowds around him were oblivious to the tension. He looked like a teenager who just wanted to get through the day, but was now caught in a whirlwind of confusion and unnecessary drama. It was in this moment of unexpected tension that the staff's decision would take a shocking turn. In the wake of Barron Trump being escorted out of the airport, the staff probably didn't think much of it at first. They had simply followed procedure, assuming he was just another teenager, perhaps traveling without proper documentation or causing some disturbance. But as soon as they started to piece together the circumstances, the reality of their mistake began to dawn on them. It was likely a slow, dawning realization that Barron Trump wasn't just another young traveler. He was the son of one of the most famous families in the world, and his presence at the airport should have been treated with much more care. As staff began to hear murmurs and connect the dots, regret swiftly followed. They must have realized that their assumptions were wrong, that they had acted hastily, and most likely, they felt a deep sense of embarrassment. The tension in the air, once a mundane part of the process, now felt much heavier. They had made an error, and the consequences were clear. This wasn't just a case of a minor mistake. This was a significant blunder involving the child of the former U.S. president, and the ramifications of their actions were much larger than they had initially perceived. At first, the staff had no reason to think otherwise. Barron was dressed simply, not with the usual flair or entourage that might announce his identity. To them, he seemed like just another teenager, perhaps someone traveling alone without the proper paperwork or supervision. The staff likely didn't recognize him immediately, and without a second thought, they acted on their assumptions. But as soon as the situation began to unfold, and whispers of who Barron truly was started circulating, the realization must have hit them like a ton of bricks. Their initial judgment now seemed incredibly hasty and wrong. The faces of the staff likely shifted from authority to shock, from certainty to self-doubt. How could they not have recognized him? And worse, how could they have made such a public error in handling the son of Melania and Donald Trump? The weight of the situation must have quickly crushed them as they began to understand the gravity of their actions. But just as the regret was beginning to settle in, the situation took another dramatic turn. Melania Trump, Barron's mother, entered the scene, her presence immediately shifting the energy in the room. With the grace, poise, and confidence that she had displayed time and time again in the public eye, Melania walked into the terminal. Her elegance and power were palpable. The moment she stepped into view, everything seemed to stop. The staff, already grappling with the weight of their mistake, couldn't ignore the powerful presence that Melania exuded. She wasn't just the former First Lady, she was a woman who carried herself with such elegance that it was impossible not to feel a sense of awe when she entered the room. The regret the staff felt was only deepened as they realized the level of embarrassment they had caused, not just to Barron, but now to Melania as well. For the staff, the sight of Melania must have been overwhelming. There she was, walking towards them with calm authority, her every step radiating dignity. The air around her seemed to shimmer with an aura of power, and the staff could no longer hide the regret and embarrassment that flooded their minds. What had started as a simple mistake now felt like a monumental error in judgment. As Melania walked past them, the staff likely exchanged uneasy glances, each person feeling the weight of their actions. They had wronged not only Barron, but now the person who was undoubtedly one of the most graceful figures in the world. The shame must have been almost palpable as they realized how they had mishandled the situation, treating Barron as if he were just another nameless traveler. Melania's elegance, her calm demeanor in the face of such a frustrating situation, only made their mistake all the more glaring. The regret they felt wasn't just about the mistake of kicking Barron out, it was also about how they had misjudged the moment, failed to recognize who was before them, and let their assumptions cloud their better judgment. As Melania stood before them, her composed presence felt like an unspoken reminder of the high standards that should have been maintained from the start. As Melania Trump entered the scene, the atmosphere shifted instantly. Unlike what one might expect in such a situation, she did not respond with anger or frustration. Instead, her presence alone seemed to command respect, and in a quiet yet powerful way, she demonstrated the strength of grace under pressure. She knew that reacting with emotion would only escalate the situation further, so she remained calm and poised, displaying the kind of composure that had made her one of the most admired figures in the public eye. When Melania approached the staff, there was no shouting, no public reprimands. She simply looked at them with a knowing expression. Her gaze alone conveyed that she understood the mistake was a product of misunderstanding, not malice. With a calm voice, she may have said something like, "I trust you now understand the situation," allowing the staff to realize how their actions had affected not just Barron, but the entire situation as well. Melania didn't have to say much for the staff to understand the weight of their mistake. Her ability to maintain composure and dignity in an uncomfortable situation spoke volumes about her leadership and emotional intelligence. She didn't make a scene or draw attention to the error in front of others. She handled the matter privately, with tact and professionalism. As for Barron, the incident clearly left him unsettled, but it seemed he didn't hold any lasting resentment. Given his upbringing, he understood that mistakes happen, especially in high-pressure situations. His reaction was one of quiet forgiveness. He likely felt a mix of confusion and disappointment at first, but with his mother's calm handling of the situation, Barron also seemed to move past it swiftly. His strength and understanding mirrored Melania's, grace under pressure, accepting that sometimes, even adults make mistakes. This incident at the airport offers a powerful reminder that in moments of surprise and embarrassment, compassion is far more important than judgment. The airport staff, initially quick to assume Barron's situation, learned firsthand how assumptions can lead to serious mistakes. The lesson here is that we must take a step back, show understanding, and avoid jumping to conclusions, especially when the consequences involve other people's dignity and peace of mind. The staff's regret came not just from their error, but from realizing that a moment of judgment could have easily been handled with a bit more empathy. Melania's response is a masterclass in how to handle adversity with kindness and grace. In the face of an uncomfortable situation, she didn't lash out or respond harshly. Instead, she chose to maintain her dignity, showing that no matter how challenging a situation may be, staying calm, composed, and kind is always the best approach. Her actions revealed a bigger truth about human nature. When we respond with kindness, we not only de-escalate conflict, but we also heal wounds and create understanding where there was once misunderstanding. This airport incident wasn't just about a simple mistake, it was a moment of reflection on the impact of judgment, regret, and the power of kindness in all situations. At first, the staff made an error based on assumptions, but as the situation unfolded, they were reminded of how easy it is to misjudge others. The true lesson here is that kindness, understanding, and compassion should always come before hasty conclusions, especially when emotions run high. In the end, even those with the best of intentions can make mistakes, but it's how we handle them that shows our true character. This moment serves as a reminder that we're all human, and we all slip up. It's how we respond to those mistakes, whether with humility, understanding, or grace, that defines who we really are. As the story comes to a close, Barron and Melania move forward, leaving behind the tension and drama. Their calm composure, especially Melania's dignified handling of the situation, reminds us that even in uncomfortable moments, we can choose to rise above. Picture Barron and Melania walking out of the airport, side by side, smiling or calmly discussing the incident. It's a heartwarming image of resilience and forgiveness, showing that with grace, any situation can be turned into an opportunity for personal growth. Can you imagine what it must have been like for Barron? Or how the staff must have felt when they realized their mistake after Melania arrived? It's incredible how a moment of misunderstanding can turn into a lesson in compassion and grace. Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts. Did you think the staff acted too hastily, or do you believe this was just an honest mistake? We'd love to hear your perspective. Don't forget to subscribe for more incredible stories like this, where the unexpected leads to unforgettable moments. We bring you captivating stories that not only surprise, but also leave you with powerful life lessons. So, if you enjoyed this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on the next incredible tale.